Okay, welcome back to UNETANEH TOKEF, everybody. We spoke last week about the drama of this prayer. We spoke about the origins of it, the legend that has been spoken about it with Rav Amnon. We also spoke about the earliest version of it that was found in the Cairo Geniza. Welcome, Frank. I'm glad you're here because we're going to do something musical. So we spoke about the Cairo Geniza and that it was actually probably written in the 7th or 8th century CE by a chap called Yanai. But the legend of Rav Amnon of Mainz may or may not be true. And he may or may not, he didn't write it, but he may or may not have asked it to be introduced into this, into the Tefilah. But what we did when we went through the words was we saw the power and the drama of what's going on. What's going on is plain and simple a court case. And we, as individuals and as a people, but as individuals at this point, are in the dock. We're the defendants. And we are being judged. And we went through all the situations that this is not a court of down here on earth. This is a heavenly court, and the book, the Sefer HaZichronot, that book of Chronicles, reads itself a la Harry Potter. And Betizkor kol nishkachot, everything that we've forgotten is remembered, for good and for bad. That's an important thing that we need to remember. And we ended up, we got to this bit where we said, Umalachim yechafezon. We said that the angels were yechafezon, and we mentioned the word chipazon from the Haggadah. Yes, we eat. How did we eat our? How did they leave Mitzrayim? B'chipazon, in a hurry. Yeah, that's why the matzah didn't rise, because the dough didn't have time to rise. They had to run out. Chipazon. So malachim yechafezon. The angels are running around, hurrying around. V'chil ura'ada yochezon. And this fear and trembling grasped them. And we had a bit of a discussion about who it was that was chil ura'ada. And the language certainly seems to imply that it's the angels that were trembling and fearful. I wanted to say that it should really be us that's trembling and fearful. And then these very, very powerful words, Vayomeru hine yom adin. And I'm going to show you on the with some music just how powerful that expression is. Hine yom adin. This is it. Imagine just for a moment. I'm not going to ask you, but if ever you've been involved in a court case, whether, I mean, no, Jackie, you've defended people in various in the court with a bet din, I know. Yeah. But as a defendant, I can tell you, and I haven't been there myself as a defendant.
You're scared.
But I've acted as an expert witness in numerous cases where doctors have been, in the dock, as it were, and it is incredibly stressful, incredibly stressful. And if you speak to the doctors who are involved, as we do, and the barristers are always very kind and try very hard to calm them down and what have you, they will tell you they haven't slept for weeks, months, sometimes even years. These things take before they get to the court case. And finally, when it comes, vayomru hine yom adin, the day of judgment has arrived. It is incredibly stressful. Imagine that is what we're going through, multiplied by whatever, because this is the heavenly court. And that's how we're meant to feel at this particular point. That's why this prayer is so powerful, because it is Yom Hadin. It's the day of judgment. And then lifkod al tzva marom badin. This is we very quickly did this at the end. We are being like tzva marom, the heavenly host. Tzva, we know what that word is. Tzva is the same word as tzava, the army. Marom, on high. So the army on high. Who's that?
God's army.
Hashem and the angels. Presumably, the angels. Well, we know the angels are the courtiers, running around saying "Hine Yom Adin" and "Malachem Yechafezun." But I'm assuming also that they're the jury. Do you think that? I mean, Hashem's the judge. There is no jury. That's what I thought as well. But what's this Tzva Marom Badin then? What are these? Who is this Tzva Marom, this heavenly host in judgment? Because Kadosh Baruch Hu can't be a host, can he?
They carry out his commandments, whatever he says. If he says this one's going to die, they see to it.
So they're the executioner then?
Yeah.
All right. So Jackie wants to say that this Tzva Marom is a Malach HaMoves going around doing the business. What do you want to say there, Frank, in there? What's that saying?
The translation in the
Corin Sachs
says visiting the heavenly host for judgment rather than in judgment.
All right. So let's just see what that means then. Hang on a minute. Lifkod, Vayom. Read me the whole translation from Vayom Ruhine Yom Adin and do it loud so they can hear on the thing.
Here is the day of judgment, visiting all the heavenly host for judgment.
Okay, here is the day of judgment. Vayom Ru, and they say, right?
Yeah.
Here is the day of judgment, visiting
all the heavenly host
for judgment. Okay, so it's referring. So who's the heavenly host?
The angels.
Who's the heavenly host?
The angels.
Leslie says Hashem, and Hashem. But you're right. It sounds like it should be. I think it sounds like it's the angels because tzva is
somewhere in the back recesses of my brain. I have a feeling there is a prosecutor and there is a defender. So
the prosecuting angels and defending angels. Yeah. And a Kadosh Baruch Hu sitting there in judgment. Maybe that's what the Tzva Marom is. The picture here is definitely one of a court case, and so I don't think we need to get too hung up about it because it's deliberately using language that we understand from a court case.
Each one of the posts comes in Kedusha as well.
It does. Hashem Tzvakot. Yeah. Kadosh, Kadosh, Kadosh. Adonai Tzvaot. Maloch Haaretz Kavodot. Let's translate that. Holy, holy, holy. God of hosts. Maloch Haaretz. The whole earth is filled. Maloch Haaretz Kavodot, with his glory. Yeah. So it's. I think the idea is that if you imagine a king. One sec. We'll come back to you in a sec. If you imagine a king going around doing, the Queen, right? When she did her Jubilee, whenever, Diamond Jubilee and Golden Jubilee and all those Jubilees, what did she do? She went on a tour, right? And what did she have with her? Courtiers, her entourage, right? No king or queen goes out on their own, right? The bigger the Kanaka, right? The greater the entourage, yeah? President Trump has, Air Force One, and when he gets there, he has a limousine and he has outriders and all that performance. When I go out, I'm on my jack, right? Because nobody gives a monkeys about whether I'm going or not. But if you're a Kanaka, the bigger the Kanaka, the greater the entourage. So I think the idea of this Tzva Marom is to give us, for us to understand the grandeur of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. I don't think we need to get too hung up on the literal meaning of it. The idea is to conjure up the idea of this very, very important court that's going on. Yes, Hannah.
That scroll says something here to Kilo Yisku, and it says, for they cannot be vindicated. Even the heavenly beings are not perfect enough to withstand the scrutiny of God's judgment. Since the entire universe was created for the sake of Israel, the nation that would accept the Torah, the existence of the angels hangs in the balance when Israel is judged. Everything flourishes or withers according to the merit of Israel.
Yes, I've just read that with you there in my art scroll, or Hameir. You'll not be surprised to know that that doesn't really do it for me. I don't know about anybody else. I have a major problem,
With supernatural.
That's suggesting that the angels are on trial.
yeah, I have a major problem with a lot that's written in that small paragraph. Even the heavenly beings are not perfect enough to withstand the scrutiny of God's judgment. I can't get my head around that because angels don't have free will. So I can't get my head around that. I also have a big problem personally, and always have had, with the statement that the entire universe was created for the sake of Israel. I find that difficult to get my head around.
How does it say it in Hebrew?
Huh?
How does that sentence sound in Hebrew?
Well, it says Bereshit bara Elokim, right? And the Medrash says Bereshit bara. What does it mean, Bereshit bara Elokim? It means that God created for the world for the sake of the nation who is called Reshit, which is the Jewish people are called Reshit. And therefore, according to this concept, everything that goes on in the entire world is for the Jews. And nothing goes on in the world without it without it being something affecting the Jews. Now, okay, right now we can perhaps get a feel for that. I once had a discussion with a gentleman in a swimming pool changing room about this. I used to go to the Hasidic swimming club before work. No, it was a proper swimming club, not a mikveh. There was I used to go to the first minyan in the minyan factory there, which was at 6:30. And then at 7:15 till 7:45, there was a Hasidic swimming club where they took over the local pool, and it was only men only, obviously, and they were all Hasidic fellows there, and they were absolutely fabulous characters. I loved it, and there was always all sorts of conversations going on in the changing room, and on one occasion, this idea of that the whole world was created for the sake of Israel came up, and that nothing goes on in the world to do with anything that it doesn't have an effect on a Jew. And one fellow there said this, and he was challenged by another fellow who said, well, what about the guy that lives in the jungle, who's never even heard of a Jew, has nothing to do with a Jew the whole of his life, and he lives in the jungle, and how can he be created just for the Jews? And you know what his answer was? Maybe he works on rubber plants and he'll make rubber for the tires for a Jew's car.
There's another answer to the butterfly effect.
The butterfly effect, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I personally have a bit of a problem with that. So we'll move on. Right.
Reshit is not Bereshit at the beginning there.
No, we've got these. It's a drush. It's a drush. It's not the pshat. It's a drush saying Bereshit bara Elokim, that Hashem created the world for the nation who is called Reshit, which is Bnei Israel. Okay, so we've got this idea now that we're in this court case. V'chol ba'ei olam ya'avrun lefanecha kivnei maron. Because all of the world, all of mankind, is translated here in the art scroll, will come, kol ba'ei olam ya'avrun lefanecha. Ya'avrun. Will pass lefanecha before you. Kivnei maron, like bnei maron, not marom that we had before. Maron with a nun. Flock. Bnei maron of sheep. Bnei maron is sheep. So this is the idea of the shepherd. The metaphor. Yes, the metaphor is of a shepherd counting his sheep. Now, shepherds are a very, very important and strong part of our culture. For example, who was a shepherd? Aaron, who do you know of our ancestors who was a shepherd?
Moses.
Abraham. Moshe.
Rabbeinu.
David. Yeah. Yitzchak and Yaakov as well. Yeah. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Moshe, David. Right. Pretty good selection.
That had to be, there was nothing else to do.
They were all shepherds. They were all shepherds.
Shaul went to look up, looking for
Shaul went to
them.
look for his donkeys. That's true. He went to look for his father's donkeys. Yeah. So the idea of a shepherd is a very strong Jewish metaphor, out in motif. Yeah. And what is the motif there? The idea of a shepherd is that they look after their sheep. They are
Break off any old CDC parking decals they might have on their cars. Is that where we are? Those employees have to worry about.
There we go. Muted Faye. Right. So shepherds and sheep is a very strong motif and it's because shepherds are kind to their sheep, right? They look after them. There's a very famous medrash that says that why was Moshe Rabbeinu chosen to be the leader of Bnei Israel? Because he looked after the sheep, and there's a medrash that says that there was a lame sheep, and he carried him and he put the sheep on his shoulders, and this demonstrated that he was somebody who cared about every single being. So when we speak about all of mankind passing in front of you, lefanecha, we've switched a bit now here into the second person, meaning Hashem, kivnei maron, like members of the flock. There are two elements to this. There's the first element that we've just spoken about, which is that a shepherd is always kind to his flock, right? Looks after them. So this is the idea, is that we are, as it were, praying that Kodesh Baruch Hu will be like a shepherd to us, right? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Adonai Roi, yeah, Hashem is my shepherd. The idea of a shepherd is he cares. But also, what does a shepherd do? Let's say you've got a flock which might have some kind of illness in it. I don't know, sheep flu or what have you.
Foot and mouth.
Foot and mouth, right? What are you going to do? You are going to look very carefully at every single sheep. You're going to examine them because you're going to have to obviously isolate those sheep. So this idea of us has got a double-edged sword. On the one hand, he's going to examine us like we've just read, right? He's going to examine us very, very carefully. No deed of ours is going to be forgotten. We are going to be examined as thoroughly as a shepherd would look for signs of illness in his sheep. On the other hand, the motif is one of being looked after. So it's quite an interesting metaphor, this, because it gives us, on the one hand, a bit of a scare, and on the other hand, it gives us hope that we will be looked after like a shepherd looks after sheep. Okay. Now, the next few words.
Sorry, just before we go on, just as we're reading it and thinking, this is, if you imagine the imagery you've just created, is that you've got all the sheep queuing up, and one by one you pass in front for your confection. Yet the concept, by and large, through Yomim Aram, is first person plural. So we're actually moving away from the plural, that's the bulk of our prayer, to here where it's one by one passing in front.
I think that's absolutely right, because this prayer is singularly singular. When we get onto the next paragraph, which you'll all be familiar with, it's all about individuals. Mi yichyeh u'mi yamut, right? It's a very individual thing. So you're right, Frank. And this is the introduction. This paragraph that we're doing from UNETANEH TOKEF up to Barosh Hashanah Yikatevon, that paragraph is the introduction to the nuts and bolts of it, which is Barosh Hashanah Yikatevon. Kama yavrun v'kama yibareun. Who's going to pass away and who's going to be created? You can't get any more individual than that. So you're absolutely right. This is now coming in. Everybody else is out. Up until now, we can perhaps hide in the crowd. Right? We can hide in the crowd. There's no hiding in the crowd here. This is individual judgment. And just in case you think I made that analogy up, Look at the next few words. Kevakarat ro'eh edro. Okay, what word can you see in the middle of the first word? Kevakarat. Bakar. Very good. What's bakar?
Cattle.
No, that's boker.
Cattle.
Bakar is a cow. Yeah, it's an animal. No, that's keves. Bakar is a cow. Right, bakar is cattle. Actually, it's the bakar is the collective term. What we would say in English, cattle. Must be because it's bet kuf resh.
I have a comment. on
One
that.
sec. If anybody can find a connection between cattle and mourning before the end of the Shiur, very good. Otherwise, it's homework, right? What's the connection? Because it must be the same root. So kavakarat ro'eh. So it's the one sec, Anna. It's the collective term. So kavakarat ro'eh. What's a ro'eh? A shepherd. Eder. What's an eder? It's another word for flock.
No.
So kavakarat roe edro, like a shepherd shepherding. Now he translates it as pasturing, right? Why does it translate it as pasturing? Because in English it's not good English to use the same word twice, right? And these are two different Hebrew words, but they mean shepherding. So it's like a shepherd shepherding or pasturing. It says here his flock. Ma'avir tsono tachat shifto. I can hear you all in your head. You're listening to the tune here, aren't you? Frank definitely is. He's singing it in his head, right? Ma'avir tsono tachat shifto. Ma'avir, he causes to pass. Tsono, tson, his sheep. Yeah, he causes, making his sheep pass tachat shifto, underneath his shevet. What's a shevet? No, that's an ohel. Shevet, a rod, a staff. You know, the shepherd has a, what do they call it? A crook. Yes, a crook. So and so they use that crook the sheep passes underneath the crook. Why? So that the shepherd can examine it. So that shepherd can examine it. And that's what's happening here. We're being examined. Similarly, Cain. Similarly, ta'avir, you cause to pass. Who? You'll see who in a minute. You, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, cause to pass. V'tispor, and count, and you count. V'timneh, another word for count. Remember we had this last week. Moneh. What's the moneh on your water? The meter. What does the meter do? Counts how much money you have to pay.
Calculate.
Right? Count. So Cain at Tavir. So Hashem causes to pass, and he counts, another word for counts. How does he do here? Calculates, okay.
Number.
Counts in number, very good. V'tifkod, and he apportions. Right? He apportions. Okay? He apportions. Yes, Hannah.
Two comments now.
Okay.
There's another
Loud.
There's another translation for kabakarat, and kabakarat is to levakel, to check, to check. Yeah, levakel.
Okay.
And so he's
Maybe that's
he's
it.
examining.
Yeah.
Like a shepherd.
Yeah.
Examines his flock.
Levakel.
Which goes to what you said before about
the flock. Yeah.
If one of them is not well, then he examines all of them.
There's another one as well I've just thought of. Bikoret. Another word, bikoret.
It's bakarat.
It is, yeah. But do you know what bikoret actually means in modern Hebrew? Criticism.
Well,
criticism.
Examine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So the vad habikoret, there's a vad of the shul, right? And then there's a vad habikoret, which is the overseeing committee, which is meant to check the vad. So you've got the vad, and then you've got this sort of, super committee of two.
Everybody.
Who's meant to make
The
sure
chairman.
that is doing what they're meant to do. And that's called the Vad Abikoret. So it's the same word. Very good, Hannah. Yes, your second
And
comment.
the second one is the tifkod. Tifkod is also another word for counting. In the army, when you have to lipaked, you count off 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5. So
Yeah.
it's a third word that they're using.
Correct. And
Yeah, for counting.
and also in the army, a mufaked is an officer.
Yeah,
And what does the officers do? They're in charge of the soldiers.
yeah.
So here, but here, look at what's coming up here. Okay, so he says, yes, pass, count, calculate, and consider. He says here, right? Vitiv code. Who is God causing to pass and to count and to apportion?
Us.
Nefesh kol chai. Every living soul. Every living soul. No excuses. No hiding behind the guy in front of you, right? And trying to sneak in. And look what he does. V'tachtoch. And he cuts or apportions. Lachtoch is to cut. He cuts for you. Kitzva. What's kitzva? What's taktiv in modern Hebrew?
Budget.
Budget. Well done, Barbara. Budget. Yes. Taktiv is a budget. So tachtov kitzva. He cuts for you your budget. In other words, he apportions for you what you're going to get this year. L'chol bariotecha. To all your creations. So every single person passes through ta'avir, passes before Hashem, tispor, he counts, timneh, he calculates, tifkod, he considers every living soul, and he apportions your budget for the year. Now that is the root of the idea that on Rosh Hashanah it is decided what you're going to have for the whole of the year. Right? Now it always bothered me a little bit that, because if it's decided what you have on the that's it. When you're working, is they just put your feet up because it's decided what you're going to get. It doesn't work like that.
And why are you saying it for Yom Kippur then as well? That's when it's sealed, isn't it?
Well, it's when it's sealed, yeah. The Rosh Hashanah Yikatevon. On Rosh Hashanah, it's written down. Yom Tzom Kippur Yechatevon. It's stamped. But even then, you've still got a chance. Why?
Because on Zot
Somebody-
Hanukkah is the final stamp.
Never mind.
And also on
Hanukkah.
Simchas
No,
Torah
I'm not
on
buying
Shmini
Hanukkah. No,
Atzeres.
you're not stretching it out.
Hoshana Rabbah.
Hanukkah.
Nah.
I'm on Zoom.
Come
Hoshana
on.
Rabbah.
That's a little. It's
Hoshana Rabbah's hard enough, right?
I'm
You've
on
got
a
Rosh
Zoom.
Hashanah. No, I'm not having Hanukkah. Yeah, I know the Midrash, but I'm not buying that
what,
Hanukkah.
the day before Simchat Torah, are you saying?
Yeah, Hoshana Rabbah. So this is how it goes, right? Because Hoshana Rabbah, you come here on Hoshana Rabbah, Aaron, the guy's in his kittel, the chazan's in his kittel,
White shittle.
the tunes are the tunes for Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, not the tunes for Yom Tov for Chag, the tunes for Yomim Noraim. It's a very, very serious day. Why does it work like that? Rosh Hashanah is written down. This is how it was explained to me. Rosh Hashanah is written down. Yom Kippur, the verdict is sealed, but you've still got a chance because he hasn't posted it until Hoshana Rabbah. So until Hoshana Rabbah, you can steam it open. You can get to steam open the sealed envelope and change the Gzar Din. Once it's posted on Hoshana Rabbah, it'll take till Hanukkah to be delivered. I'll buy you that in Israel.
What's the greeting between Yom Kippur and Hoshana Rabbah?
They're getting kvittel.
They're getting kvittel.
That's right. They're getting kvittel. Yeah. So Hoshana Rabbah. And what's a greeting? What's a greeting after Hoshana Rabbah?
Get winter.
I get in winter. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, before you move on,
Okay, so
1 second.
I heard-
1 second, Faye. 1 second. Frank is speaking. You can't see him, but I can.
okay.
immediately after Tisha B'Av, we have from Shabbat Nachamu, we have the 7 Haftarot of consolation leading up to Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah.
The countdown has started.
Right.
And in the Haftarah that we read on Shabbat, we have the imagery of God as the shepherd with his people. And the wording picks up the wording here of Roy Edra in the Haftarah from us.
Okay. Now I'm going to have to say that out loud because it was really.
No, I heard it. You could hear it on Zoom.
Okay. Well, I'll just repeat it anyway in case the recording can't hear it. Frank pointed out that we've started the 7 Haftarot of consolation, starting with Shabbat Nachamu, which is the countdown to Rosh Hashanah. And where is it in? It's in Yeshaya because Shabbat Nachamu, the Haftarah is from Yeshaya. What pasuk? What chapter? What pasuk does it say?
What chapter are we in? Chapter 40.
chapter 14,
40.
40.
40. And
Ch-
the whole imagery really starts around verse 9, but actually verse 11, the first opening words are Koroe Edro.
Okay, so verse 11, chapter 40 of Yeshayahu, which is part of Shabbat Nachamu's Haftorah, it uses the imagery of Koroe Edro, like a shepherd with his flock, exactly the same words that we have here, Roe Edro. It's a very, very nice connection for Shabbat Nachamu through to here. Excellent.
I noticed it on Shabbat when I was sitting.
So, Tachtov Kitzvah L'chol Briotecha.
Wait. Before you go on, I just want to justify like the final stamp, the final chatima. This is a chassid. I know how you don't really hold by chassidut, but this is a chassidish learning that I hold by. That our final verdict is not until Aaron HaKohen, who wanted peace for everybody, gives his final stamp on Zot Chanukah. So that's when, the final,
Not
you
surprised it's
steam it
Hasidic.
open on
They're
Hoshana
always late.
Rabbah.
Hasidim are always late on everything. Even on the Gzar
Even
Din, they're
Shabbos.
late. Very nice.
Oh, so now I
Okay.
have my justification for always being late. Okay. I'm a
Yeah.
chassidah.
You're definitely in that regard. You're definitely a chassid, Faye. Definitely a
There's
chassid.
no justification for that date. It's stated.
Nah, I mean, it's all Hanukkah's a made-up thing anyway, isn't it? It's a Durabanan, so it's not right anyway. So, okay, very good. Right, let's just finish this.
Johnny, can I just say that we get to Hoshana Rabbah, could it not be that between Yom Kippur and Hoshana Rabbah, the angels were all running around in heaven trying to make the Almighty change if he's made some bad decrees? Maybe they're trying to intercede on our behalf.
Could be. I mean, we certainly have till Hoshana Rabbah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You can steam it open till on Hoshana Rabbah, it goes in the post
Why would
box.
they be doing that? They have no free will. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Because they are programmed to do it. They're chat GPT. Right. So we have our budget fixed for us on Rosh Hashanah.
Maybe it's like Harry Potter, and if you do good things between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the envelope can open itself.
Yeah, there you go. V'tichtov et Gzar Dinam. And you will write, what is Gzar Din?
Verdict.
The verdict. And that
The
is
final verdict.
that is also in modern Hebrew. Gzar Din is the verdict. If you are unfortunate enough to go to court here in Israel, the verdict is called the Gzar Din, which I think is beautiful. Not that I want to ever go and have one, but I just think it's so wonderful that, and we were talking about this on Shabbat, actually, around our Shabbat table. We were talking about Eliezer ben Yehuda. What a genius of a man. He is the guy that basically restored Hebrew from a dead language into a living language. An absolute genius. And the idea that we have this here, which was written in the 7th century or 8th century, and it's talking about Kadosh Baruch Hu writes the Gzar Dinam. And here in Israel, the verdict is called Gzar Din. I think that's wonderful. The other thing I think is wonderful is when you write a report. What's a report called in Hebrew?
Doch.
A doch. But it's not. How do you write doch, Aaron?
With the abbreviation in the middle. With
Yes.
The two.
Yes. So
Yeah. How do you write?
something
You write doch, daled,
And
vav,
then
chubchik, the two little
Yeah.
thingies, and chet, right? Doch.
What
What
does
does
it
it stand for?
like it's an abbreviation
That
for
means the report. What does it stand for?
daf.
something.
Lionel's got it. It stands for din v'cheshbon. Or as we would
Ah.
say in the hometown, din v'cheshbon. Right? You have to give din v'cheshbon. You know, if you have to go and, you ever been asked to give din v'cheshbon on something? It's a very common expression in the yeshiva world, right? I want you to give me din v'cheshbon on this. It means I want a full report on everything that's going on, right? That is brilliant. That the modern Hebrew word is doch, which stands for din v'cheshbon. Brilliant. Eliezer ben Yehuda. We have this little game that we play in our family from time to time. It just sort of sprouts up. And that is, you can choose anybody from history to spend an hour with. Would you choose? And there's always the favorites like, Moshe Rabbeinu and what have you. Eliezer ben Yehuda would definitely be on my list. Definitely. Get into that man's brilliant brain. Anyway.
You know the song?
Huh?
You know his song?
Eliezer ben Yehuda. It's a Chava Alberstein song.
Okay,
Eliezer,
we'll
look
pass
it
on
up
that.
on YouTube.
Right,
Eliezer
so
ben Yehuda.
V'tichtovet Gazar Dinam, right?
You
And
know who his son was?
huh?
You know who his son was?
His son was no. Who was his son?
Itamar ben Avi.
Yes.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah.
This is the-
Yeah, Itamar ben Navi was his son. Didn't know that. Okay, so V'tichtovet Gazar Dinam, you HaKadosh Baruch Hu, will write the verdict. Right, the court case is coming to an end here now. We're at the judgment point. The judge is giving his verdict, and what is the verdict about? Let's go on. Rosh Hashanah Yikatevon. On Rosh Hashanah, it's written down. Yom Tzom Kippur, and on the day of the fast of Yom Kippur, Yechetemun. It is stamped or sealed. Sealed. What is sealed?
Perfect.
Kama ya'avrun. How many will pass away? The kama yibareyon. You can see that the play on words there. Ya'avrun yibareyon. Yibareyon means how many will be from the word bara. How many will be created? So in other words, who will pass away and who will be created? Mi yichyeh, who will live? Umi amut,
and who will die?
Mi bekitzo, who at his appointed time? Umi lo bekitzo, and who will die not at his appointed time. Now that's a scary thought.
On the appointed time.
Huh?
Surely everybody.
Yes. When you are born, Kodesh Baruch Hu, as it were, allocates you an appointed time. But we have free choice, Warren, and we can muck it up, or we might be super good and get it extended. Who knows? How do we know that there is an opportunity to extend your life at least? Because there are mitzvot in the Torah which specifically tell you the reward for that is Elaman Yarichun Yamim Al Ha'adama, so that your days will be lengthened on the earth. Which are, what are the mitzvot? Kabed et avicha v'et imecha. We heard it on Shabbat. Shluach haken. Not ben. Shluach haken. Shluach haken. Sending away the mother bird. Okay, don't get me started. Right? Shluach haken. Yeah.
Ken?
So,
Ken?
the nest. Sending away the mother bird off the eggs if you want to take the eggs.
Okay.
The Torah says you do that mitzvah, you get long life. Okay. So, mi bekitzo, mi lo bekitzo. Who will die at his appointed time? Who will not die at his appointed time? And this is very poignant, soldiers, young people that pass away, and you think, wow, mi lo bekitzo. Mi bamayim. Who will die by water? What does that mean, by water? By drowning, or it could also mean, my heart failure. Somebody who has heart failure, their lungs fill with water. That's how a person dies with heart failure. The heart is not strong enough to pump out, and the water backs up, and that's why people are breathless. People with heart failure are breathless because the lungs fill with water. Mi ba'mayim. Mi va'esh. By fire. So simple expression could be could die in a fire. But what else could it mean?
Bomb.
A bomb?
Crash.
A crash? There's fire?
Fever.
What about fever? Fever. Miva esh. Burning up like fire. Fever.
Probably more prevalent then.
Miva cherev. Who by a sword? Who by a sword? What could that mean?
In battle.
Yeah, in battle. Who in battle? Miva chaya. Who by a wild animal? We've seen plenty chayot, have we not? Sadly. Miva ra'av. Who by? Hunger. Famine. Right? Don't have to talk much about that. Umiva tzama. And who by thirst. So that could also be famine and thirst as we understand it, but it could also mean miva ra'av. Somebody who is starved. Somebody who can't eat. Anybody who,
Oh, like those poor hostages.
right? Yeah, the poor hostages. Or I'm thinking, something much more straightforward than that. A person who has, I don't know, stomach cancer or pancreatic cancer. They can't eat. Nebuch. Mivatsama, somebody who can't drink, right? Somebody who's not able to physically drink. Mivara'ash. What does ra'ash mean? Noise. Yeah, but what it mean in this context? It means earthquake. Earthquake. Ra'ash. What does he call it? Storm. He says storm. So ra'ash is a noise. Anything that makes a big noise. Storm, earthquake. Umi v'magefa. Who by a plague? 6 years ago, we wouldn't have even been able to relate to that, would we? Me by magefa, we think, who by plague? Oh, bubonic plague and, and all that stuff. Right? How many millions of people died in the COVID pandemic? Millions across the world. Millions of people. 1.5 million in America alone. Miva magefa. That Rosh Hashanah, that first Rosh Hashanah, when we were all locked in and we didn't have tefillot, we had to daven at home. That was really poignant. Miva chanika. What's chanika? Strangulation. So somebody who has respiratory disease, can't breathe properly. Somebody who has terrible asthma. Somebody who has a terrible respiratory disease, lung cancer or something like that. Chanika. Umiva skila. Skila. Stoning. So what might that be?
Accident.
Yeah, stoning, something that hits you on the head, a head injury. Now, those are the things of people who are going to die. What about if you don't die? Miyanuach,
Who's going to rest?
rest from the same word as menucha.
Manuach.
Menucha, right? Shabbat menucha. Miyanuach, who will rest? In other words, who will have, what do we say? How do we say in Hebrew if you have, I don't even know how to say it in English. I'll say it in Hebrew. Menuchat nefesh. Menuchat nefesh means resting of the soul. It means you've got a clear head. It means you're not troubled. If you don't have menuchat nefesh, it means that you are troubled in your head. Miyanuach, who will rest, who will have peace, as it were. Umiyanua. Again, another play on words. What's Yanua? Cain, who killed Hevel, was punished by being na vanad.
Oh, wandering.
Na,
Has to
na
wander.
vanad, wandering. So
Wander.
Yanua, who will wander.
Has to wander
In other
from
words,
place to
who will
place.
rest. In other words, you'll be in a restful situation. Umi Yanua, who will be unrested and will be wandering around and can't find a restful place, either spiritually or physically. Mi shaket.
Will be
Shaket.
quiet.
Yeah, mi shaket. Who will be quiet. In other words, whose soul will be calm. That's a good word. Who will be calm? And the opposite, umi yitaref. Where do you know that word from? Tarof Toraf. Where's that from, Lionel? Yosef. The brothers bring back Yosef's coat and they say, Tarof Toraf Yosef. Surely Yosef has been torn apart by a wild animal. Umi Taref, who will be torn apart. It doesn't mean physically, because it's the opposite of Yishaket.
He translates it as harassed.
Harassed. Okay. What does he translate? Yeah, harid. He says harid here. So same idea. Mi Taref. It's a very powerful picture that. Mi Taref, who will be torn apart. They've not got sheket in their life. They've not got quiet. They've not got menucha. They're yanua. They're wandering. They're torn apart. Mi shalev. Shalva ba'armonotayich. You've sung that a few times, I suspect. Frank, what's it mean?
Tranquility.
Calmness. Who will have calm?
Calm. Shalva, you should have calm ba'armonotayich in your palace. Yeah, where's it come from?
I'm just trying.
It's Tehillim.
It's in Tehillim somewhere, yeah.
No, it's not even somewhere. It's the Tehillim. It's that we say at the end of davening.
Rina, Kila, Rina, Ditza, V'chedva, Ava, V'achva, V'sholom. No, it's not.
No, it's at the end of davening. It's the psalm at the end of davening on Shabbos.
Somewhere. We'll find it in a minute. Okay,
it's the one that Lamana Chayva is at the end of it. It's the same
okay,
psalm.
so it's part of the end of
end of davening.
The end of Korbanos there. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Shabbos davening.
Thank you very much, Faye. Right. Mi Shalev, who will be tranquil? Umi Yityasar. What are Yisurim? Yisurim. Troubles. Mi Yityasar, who will be troubled? Who will suffer? We say in our, well, let's look at it. I've got the machzor here. Let's look at the vidui. Right at the end of vidui, when we said all the al-chaitz, where are we? What do we say? We say, right at the end of the al-chaitz, we say, here, right at the end, right, the very, very last sentence of the vidui, of the confession, after all the al-chaitz, we say, Yehi ratzon milefanecha, may it be your will, Adonai Elohei v'Elahai v'tai, my God and my God of my fathers, shelo echete od, that I should not sin anymore. Uma shechatati lefanecha, and that which I have sinned before you, marek, cleanse, make it empty, from the word rake. Marek, cleanse, berachamecha harabim, with your great mercy. Aval lo al yedei yisurim, not through suffering. V'chalaim ra'im, or serious illness. So we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right at the end of Vidui, to cleanse us of our sins, but not through suffering or illness. Okay, that's Yisurim. So, Mi Yityasar, who will suffer? Mi Ye Ani. What's an Ani? With an ayin. Mi Ye Ani, who will become impoverished. Umi Ye Asher, who will
become rich.
And perhaps the worst of all, Mi Yishafel, who will be humiliated, who will be degraded. Yishafel, from Shfela. What is the Shfela in geography?
The lowland, the lowlands.
The lowlands, that's right, the valleys, Shfela. Mi Yishafel, who will be laid low, who will be degraded, humiliated. And the opposite, Umi Yarum. Ramat, the Golan heights. Ramat, Poleg heights. Umi Yarum, who will be elevated. So these are all opposites, right? Who will pass, who will be created, who will die, who will live, who will die, who in his right time, who is not in his right time. Mi ba'mai, mi ba'esh, all these different ways you can die. Who will rest and who will wander, who will have tranquility and who will be torn apart, who will have peace and who will have suffering, who will become poor, who will become rich, who will be degraded and humiliated, and who will be elevated. All of this, all of it, for Rosh Hashanah Yikatevu. On Rosh Hashanah is written down, and on Yom Kippur it's sealed. And then, yes, but Barbara.
I just want to confirm what Faye said about Shalva Barmanoteha. It's in Amar Rabbi Eliezer.
Right, so the end of Korbanos, the end of Pitum HaKetoret, yeah? The end of after Ein Keloheinu,
yeah,
we say Pitum HaKetoret.
Exactly.
Right at the end of that, we have Rabbi Elazar. Yeah, okay. Shalva Ba'amonotayah. Where's it from? It should say which Tehillim it's from.
It says it's not from Tehillim. It's from Brachot. It says Brachot 64a.
Okay, very good. Didn't know that. Right, we'll look it up.
I didn't know either. Just
right. So we've got this Yes.
Just looking at the structure of the paragraph, the phrases come in pairs. We've looked at them all in pairs, but there's no consistency to it between, quote, the good thing and the bad thing that's going to come. Sometimes we've got one in front, sometimes it's the other way around. So we start off with saying who's going to die, who's going to be born, and then you go on and you have the good thing followed by the bad.
Right.
And all the way through, it just doesn't seem consistent.
Okay, so Frank's pointed out an inconsistency in the language that sometimes the good part of the pair is first and sometimes the bad part of the pair is first. Okay, let's just think about that in the context of what we spoke about in Eicha. What did we say about Eicha? We said that the language was all over the place. Sometimes it was first person, sometimes it was third person, sometimes it was a narrator. It was all over the place to give a sense of chaos, a sense of desperation, a sense of lack of order, if you like. And I'd like to suggest that for us, in that scenario, it's a double-edged sword. For HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything is ordered. He knows exactly kama yavrun for kama yibareon. We don't. And for us, it just gives you goosebumps even reading this. I'm going to give you more goosebumps now because I'm going to play you some music. The last few minutes, I'm going to play you some music. Before next week, Bezrat Hashem. No, not next week. I'm got a wedding next week. But the next time, we're going to restart at Tshuva Tefilah Tzedakah. Okay, because that's where we're up to. But for the rest of today, those of you who are in the room want to come around this side, I want to show you. I'll share the screen with the Zoomers. I want to show, actually, the first one you don't need to look at because it's not the second one you do. So this is the first piece of music I want to play to you because what it is this music does. For most of us, maybe not Aaron, because you were brought up here in Israel, right?
Well, from 14.
Okay, so maybe it will still. What I'm going to play you is something which will be very familiar to all of us from Chutz La'aretz, which is a very classical UNETANEH TOKEF tune, okay? Sung by an excellent chazan. And it gives you, I think, that this tune, this melody, this drama that it depicts is very fitting for this dramatic and scary cork. And this is what I was brought up with, not Chaim Adler. I never had a chazan as good as him, but this is the kind of thing that I was brought up with, and I suspect that many of you were as well. Let me see, first of all, if I can share the screen with the Zoomers.
What you're saying is in Eretz Yisrael, they don't do this sort of tune.
Correct, and I'm going to show you the Eretz Yisrael tune in a minute. I'm going to show you that in a minute, and you will see, and I'm going to describe to you why it's different. And Hannah will help me out with it. But in the meantime, I want to show you.
So there.
Here we are. I want to show you this, and I think I have to tick something for sound. Wait a minute. Can't remember how to do it.
You've got your outlets as well.
It's interesting because some of the phrases here, the routledge has to round out.
I want you on Zoom, please. Barbara, I can see you best. I want you to tell me whether you can hear anything. Everybody quiet, please.
No,
No, can't hear it.
can't hear anything.
You can't hear it, Barbara?
No, sorry.
Okay, I think I need to tick something on the screen. 1 second. Let me try again. That's what I want to share. layouts and options. There's meant to be something for sound.
You never sang that before, though.
Through the first person.
Yeah.
Who's the concept?
That's happening.
Annoying. Just give me a second, please, to try and find how to share the sound as well as the screen.
Well, one of those there should be still on the chest. They're both.
Can you hear it, Barbara?
No,
No.
sorry, I can't.
No.
No.
I mean, you read stuff. I'm still in
Johnny, what is it? What is it? Is it a YouTube?
Yes, it's YouTube.
And who is it singing it?
Chaim Adler.
Chaim
Chaim
Adler.
Adler, I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll stop that for a second. So that sort of plaintive, serious sort of thing, familiar, right? Okay, maybe I'll just play you a bit further up. It'll be more familiar to you as we get into it. Here, have a listen to this.
Okay, YouTube. Chaim Adler. Chaim Adler. UNETANEH TOKEF?
So you can get an idea of his crying. He's crying. I know you can't hear it on Zoom there. I'll send you the link and you can look at it later. But
Is it UNETANEH TOKEF by Chaim Adler?
yeah, UNETANEH TOKEF Chaim Adler. So
Okay.
that what I wanted to show you was how it's a different one, but yeah, that's Slichot.
Oh,
Okay, so what I wanted to just point out, and I think the people in the room got a feel for it, is that it's serious. There's a cryy sort of thing to it. Pleading, that's it. Now, when I first came to Israel and I had my first Yom Kippur, I'm waiting for this, big performance of UNETANEH TOKEF. It's a massively important prayer to me, and I get something completely and utterly different. Okay, now, maybe if that's not a bad idea, let me see if I can do it on here on my phone, and then you'll be able to hear it on there as well. 1 second while I just find it for you. I've got it on the computer, but since I can't share it properly, I'm going to try and get this up on here for you. 1 second. Just give me a moment. So I'll talk to you while I'm trying to find it. So what I found was that this was something. It was a massive disappointment to me because I couldn't get my head around the fact that this wasn't the right tune. And this was the tune that I got. Now, I want you all to come over here and have a look at this now. I'm going to show it on the screen here, actually, so you can all see it.
Oh, it's the army cousin.
That's the army cousin, yeah. Now, look at this. Can you see the video? Where do you think that video is from? Yom Kippur War. This tune was written in the aftermath of the Yom Kippur War. And that guy, he was one of the commanders of the of the Southern Command, I think, or maybe in the Golan. I don't know. There's a getting ready there. You can see this video very clearly, yeah?
Can't hear anything. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got it on video here. It's Shai, yeah, whatever his name, the head chazan of the IDF.
Malachim yechafezun. Angels running around. Look at these angels running around on this video. He was a commander in the Yom Kippur War, and he's at the memorial there. So what I wanted to point out there, don't go because I'm going to show you something else in a second now. What I want to point out to you is that anybody who was here in the Yom Kippur War, Hannah, you were here at the time of the Yom Kippur War. When you hear that tune, that reminds you of the Yom Kippur War, right? That tune is as powerful to the Israelis as our tune from Chazan Adler is to us, right? Or whatever tune that you were used to in your United Synagogue or what have you. That powerful plaintive cry to us is replaced here by that tune there, which every person who was here at the time of the Yom Kippur War, when they hear that UNETANEH TOKEF, they're transported. They're transported back to the Yom Kippur War, where everyone knew where they were, and etc., etc., etc. So it's this idea here.
Well,
there's
another element to that, because Bet Shita was a kibbutz with maybe 100 families, 120. They lost 11 children that had been grown up on the kibbutz in the Yom Kippur. The kibbutz nearly broke up because of it. And anybody who was here then remembers what it was like.
Yeah. So anybody
Yeah,
who
it was pretty horrific.
remembers
It
what
was,
it was like.
it was after the 6-day war, which was so triumphant. And then this one, we lost so many people, and they were
Correct.
held prisoner of
So
war
the
for
point that I
months.
wanted to make was that the music of UNETANEH TOKEF is almost as powerful as the words. You know, Frank has spoken about this at one of his Daven Dvash, right? Music, words are the language of the mind, and music is the language of the soul. Now, is that right, Jonathan? Yeah, Rabbi Sachs. Okay, so what was very powerful to me was that I didn't know any of that stuff about the Yom Kippur War. I just thought that's the tune they do here. And after a couple of years here, I got used to it, and I quite like it now because I'm used to it. But then, about 5 years ago, about 5 years ago, the first time I gave a shiur on UNETANEH TOKEF during Zoom, and I was doing the research, I found that video that I've just shown you, and I did a bit of research, and I found out that this tune was so firmly connected with the Yom Kippur War, and it had a massive effect because I realized then, well, all of these Israelis that are, the older Israelis who would have remembered this, so people, I was 14 at the time of the Yom Kippur War. So people my age and older, right, when they hear that UNETANEH TOKEF, I know exactly what they're thinking. And it's really very, very powerful. And then I came across something else when I was looking for when I was preparing this shiur a few years ago, and I'm going to play this for you now, because if this doesn't touch your soul, then I'd like to suggest that actually there's something wrong with you. And I'm just going to take off this this background so that you can see it better.
TOKEF become adopted throughout Israel?
As far as I'm aware, it is.
More in the Haredi synagogue.
Yeah. It might not be in the Haredi, it might not be in the super Sephardi, but certainly. Yeah.
Wait,
Right.
where are you putting? Where
Have a
are you
listen to
putting
this.
the link? I want to be with you
I'll
because I
send you
could
the
watch
link.
it on my
It's
YouTube.
Tefilah Shiur group. I'll send you the link. Right. Have a listen to this. There's not much to see, but you can have a listen to it.
Okay, I'll come tomorrow
That's
in the morning. All right.
I think that.
Yeah.
Thank you, darling.
The video.
Come later. God bless. Thank you.
You don't know it.
Hang on, I have to get the right bit.
Put the link in the chat group, please, because we can't hear anything. Put the links
We'll
in
hear in
there,
a second
please.
if you be quiet.
You can do anything because there's nothing.
I know you keep muting me.
Leonard
Oh,
Cohen.
Leonard Cohen, who by fire. Stop muting me. It's Leonard Cohen, who by
You're
fire.
spoiling it. That's why I'm muting you.
But we can't hear
But we
it.
can't hear anything.
Shall I say,
Can you hear it?
No.
listen, my barbiturate, moving drowns of love, by something blunt to.
You can hear it, but it's deformed. It sounds terrible.
Shall I say, install.
So Leonard Cohen, Who by Fire. Listen to that. If you didn't get it properly on Zoom or on the recording, go onto YouTube and just put Leonard Cohen, Who by Fire. The best version of it is live in London. It's a brilliant, brilliant video of Leonard Cohen, and it's got the words on it as well. And the words are very clear: Who by fire, who by water, who by powder, right? Who by avalanche, who by barbiturate. This is a modern UNETANEH TOKEF. Leonard Cohen was one of the most spiritual people. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs was a big, big fan of Leonard Cohen. Often spoke about
I'm a big fan.
his poetry.
I love him.
And his spirituality. So UNETANEH TOKEF touches everybody. The music of it. Whether you're a Chaim Adler type of person and you want to be taken back to the Chazan kvetching his guts out there and crying for HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mercy, or whether you're an Israeli and it takes you back to the Yom Kippur War and the trauma of that, or whether you're somebody that Leonard Cohen's words touch. I was incredibly touched by the wording there. Who by his own hand, he talks about. People who commit suicide, tragedy of that. Who by barbiturate, who by powder, heroin, and what have you. It's very, very powerful. And then he says what the refrain is, and who shall I say is calling? Who shall I say is calling? It's incredible. Just put yourself in a quiet room and go onto YouTube and listen to it. It's phenomenal. And play around with UNETANEH TOKEF. Go onto YouTube, put in UNETANEH TOKEF, and set yourself aside half an hour and just pick bits out of there. I had the most fabulous time when I was preparing this shiur a few years ago, listening to all the different versions, and I could have spent hours there. And you know me, I'm not a particularly musical person, but it really, really touched me. And I recommend that you all do it. UNETANEH TOKEF, the music of it. Next time, not next week, I've got a wedding next Monday, Bezrat Hashem. The week after.
The week after, I'll be there in person.
Okay,
Yoo-hoo!
well, very good. We'll look forward to it. I won't have to keep muting you then. So whenever it is the next time, we will start
be
with
able to shut me
Tshuva,
up.
Tefilah, and Staka. Okay, Laila Tov, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Bye.
very much.
Bye.
Thank you.